if you're just starting off in entrepreneurship, you've been in that kind of that like trainer world and you're nerding out on training and everything else, and you've not really thought about the business side at all, I think you can do a lot worse than starting with some Dan Kennedy for the marketing and the sales and some of the mindset stuff that I think it'd be super helpful in for the budding entrepreneur. What is happening, beautiful people? Welcome to the Build Your Gympire podcast. This is your place for great advice on growing your gym, growing your fitness business in ways that you, your team, your community, the people you serve, and not least importantly, your bank account are going to feel absolutely awesome about. Today, we got a little bit of a different episode for you guys. We're going to talk about some good reads. Good reads. So, if believe it or not, these Neanderthals are actually literate, and books have had a relatively significant impact, I think, on all of our developments, right, as entrepreneurs. And so we thought we would share some of the takeaways of some of the books that kind of helped us get where we are today. So, Connor, you're going to kick us off. What's your good read and why?
I am going to start off with The Dichotomy of Leadership by Jocko Willink. I don't even know how to say his last name.
Jocko Willink.
Willink.
Jocko, just in case you want to sponsor.
Hey, no free ads. No free ads. No free ads.
No free ads.
No free ads.
Yeah,
you know what? It came at a really good time. We were expanding. I want to say this is probably late 2020, early 2021. And we were expanding, and we had some of our current employees kind of stepping up in leadership. And I think it was just a really good time for us to read that book because it really showed us the, quote unquote dichotomy of leadership that you can, I think the less you know, the more you rely on what you know, if that makes sense. That you only see it one way and you only do one way. And it's kind of like the saying, if you are a hammer, everything looks like a nail. I'm throwing out some random quotes right now that are just coming in my brain. But it just helped some of my leaders that were stepping up into those new positions show that, hey, it's not so black and white, and there's some gray area to it, and you have to have the chops to be able to know when to push and hold people accountable, but also know that people are human beings and that they learn at a different pace and they different style of learners. And it's important to kind of live in that gray area a little bit more. And so I think that it was just a really good time for us to read that book. It opened our eyes. It helped us as leaders, and we took a lot from it.
Like it. Good stuff. Mark, what you got?
Really like how Connor prefaced that too, of the timing, right? I'm a big, obviously, of avid reader, and I think the timing is what's dictating my recommendations for this, because it was years ago, but it sticks out as pivotal times of reading.
Hold on, wait. Did you just say something nice about Connor?
Yeah, but you let me finish, but I'll leave it at that. I'll leave it at that.
Saying, dear listeners,
he did a good job.
Dear listeners, please mark this on your calendars.
He did a good job. But again, I'm on the understanding that there's really no secrets, just stuff you haven't learned yet, and those answers are out there. So how do you kind of always get different perception, but also when the timing of it read certain things, I think is really important. So the one, I probably have a couple, I might break the rules, but big one for me was
more episodes.
Big one for me was The Obstacle Is the Way by Ryan Holiday. Again, more of a stoic, it is a stoic book, but just the title itself, right? We were going through our expansion, kind of getting your mind right about what's to come and how to use things that obviously are obstacles and challenges for the benefit. And again, it's like that saying of we're growing and we're learning, and there's no winners and losers, there's winners and learners. And that's exactly kind of how you can tie up that book and lots of other great things in that book. But a close second would be same thing by Ryan Holiday's Ego is the Enemy, because if we have to master that, especially in business and as leaders too, we have to master that. And then I'll add a third, again, another one. This is before we open our second location at the time, was The Entrepreneur Roller Coaster. Again, just riding the highs and lows. And as you know, when you go and expand, in hindsight, now when you go and expand, I wish somebody told me this, like you literally double your problems, double your, more square footage, more people, more problems. Like that's just exactly how it is. And it is a roller coaster. And I think just important of not getting too high or too low, I think is really important. So that was another good read for me for sure. At a great time.
I like it. I like it. I like it. I guess it's kind of a similar theme, a similar timing, like for the stage one, I think probably business owner realistically. But my the author that, and I'm gonna cheat because it's basically a series of books, but the author that sort of popped my entrepreneurial cherry, if you will, was Dan Kennedy. Now I don't know what his, like, I know he's doing stuff with Russell Brunson now and ClickFunnels and everything else. So I don't know if the newsletter is any good anymore. He had some health problems recently, whatever. But in 2011, when we went to that seminar where I sat next to Connor, a happenstance, whatever it is, what is it? What is it called? The serendipity or whatever. Um, Dan Kennedy, the name Dan Kennedy got thrown around a ton on like books to read and things of that nature. And I started reading his stuff, and it was like, oh my God, like this stuff is incredible, right? And there's no BS time management. There's no BS wealth attraction for entrepreneurs. There's the ultimate sales letter. There's the ultimate marketing plan. There's all these different books, and I think what is or what was most instructive from him is like there's this whole different world and way of thinking that was just completely, like, I was completely blind to before I started just diving into everything the guy was reading and or everything the guy was writing. I think there's a ton of great marketing education there. So that was where I think I started to learn my foundations as a marketer and a copywriter was from his writings. I think there was a lot of entrepreneurial mindset stuff that was helpful coming from him. I used to subscribe to his newsletter. I have like folders and boxes of like the old newsletter stuff that was always so good just from a mindset perspective. His attitude on like, hey, like probably some similar like Jocko Willink extreme ownership stuff, right? Like taking responsibility for your shit, owning it, going out and getting customers, not being ashamed to ask for the sale, right? Not being ashamed to get a fair exchange of value and have your customer, your prospect, give you money for a fair exchange of value, and that money can be a large amount, right? If you're exchanging a lot of value in return to that prospect, like there's a lot of really positive things and lessons that I think if you're just starting off in entrepreneurship, you've been in that kind of that like trainer world and you're nerding out on training and everything else, and you've not really thought about the business side at all, I think you can do a lot worse than starting with some Dan Kennedy for the marketing and the sales and some of the mindset stuff that I think it'd be super helpful in for the budding entrepreneur. So those are my good reads. Let's cut this one quick. We got a nice quickie. We'll have some more episodes on this. If you guys like this, let us know. We'll unpack more book recommendations and whatnot to try to get you on the path and help you build your personal gympire. Love, hugs. See you guys in the next episode.